Business, knowledge, broker, hour.
Hey, yo, Guru, you ready?
Business, marketing, accounting, social media, resources, strategies, tips, events. The Business, knowledge, broker, hour.
Hey guys, this is Candace Joseph, your favorite business guru here. Listen, we are in for another great episode of the Business Knowledge Broker Hour with Candace Joseph. Each and every week, it is my goal to bring you the best in the entrepreneurship space, nonprofit space, and community activists and advocates. When I tell you today's guest is someone who is definitely a woman you definitely want to know for many purposes because she is absolutely awesome. Today, I have the honor of welcoming a model, a woman that is passionate about the community, a mental health wellness advocate, and the editor of Momentous Fashion magazine, Miss Andrea Antoinette. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Look, I'm all right. I am okay. I have to say it is definitely great for us to be able to connect in this space and get together and do this great interview. And I said, I've been looking forward to this. I said, okay, I'm ready because we're going to talk fashion. We're going to talk faith. We're going to talk about your ministries. We're going to talk about all of those great things and definitely your experience in modeling. So tell my audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so it's definitely a pleasure. My name is Andrea Antoinette. I'm from New York. Recently relocated here to Houston. And I'm a woman with many talents.
Ooh, yeah. That's what I say. I like that because, like she said, I'm not too flashy with it. I'm just gonna give you a little bit. Look, First of all, I absolutely love New York. Yeah. It's one of my favorite places to go and vacation and play and do business.
Yeah, definitely.
But New York is known as one of those fashion cities, right? Mm-hmm. So you have a background in fashion, like you were, someone who has been picked up in many spaces, has been a great designer. You won awards for that. You've been nominated for a lot of awards in fashion. So tell me, how did you get into fashion?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how I really got into it because it was actually, I started going to this church and a lady, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful, have you ever thought of modeling? And I'm like, no, that's not really my thing, and, it just kept, it was kind of like a sign and wonder type of thing. It just kept happening. A lot of people, oh, you're so beautiful. And then that same lady, at this time, I don't know if you're familiar with Avenue.
Yeah.
It's like a plus size clothing store, and they were having a fashion show. So the lady that goes to my church, she said, hey, they're having a fashion show. They're looking for models. You should definitely check it out. And I'm like, okay, the opportunity presented itself. Yeah. And that was my first time ever modeling with no experience. Never done it in my life. I do not like to be front and center. That was not my thing. I was more like a background type of person. Okay. So just having the opportunity, it was just really life-changing. And I'm like, wow, I really just love every moment of it. And that was it. That was history.
But see, that's the thing. So you told me that one encounter where someone just said, hey, I see some greatness in you. Mm-hmm. I want us to tap into that. And you did a fashion show. And after that, look, you've been rocking some runways.
Yeah.
You've hit all of the major fashion capitals really globally.
Yes.
How did that feel from going from one interaction of where someone's saying, yeah, I think you'll be good at this to now you're out there. How did that feel?
I definitely would say it's definitely God. Definitely God had a lot to do with that because it really wasn't of me or something that I would even imagine or thought that I really wanted to do. I went to school for criminal justice. Wanted to be either a lawyer or a CO.
Okay.
So it was just real different. So I really, it was something new, but definitely enjoyable.
Okay, so you're being in the fashion industry, right? Like a lot of times they want you to wear, different types of clothing, sometimes risque, right? Yes. With you being a part of, the plus size modeling industry, did you ever run into like any of those roadblocks where you say, well, hey, I can't wear this? Did you ever run into that?
Oh yeah, that was one of my main thing why I even started, my fashion line. I was really into the church. I did worship, teaching children's ministry, preaching, a lot of different things, a limelight in the community, the church community. So for me, I was more, I've literally flew to different states, different places, and had to be put in situations that was very compromising to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like with a lot of major people in the fashion modeling industry, and I had to stand my ground and said, no, I'm not wearing this. And I'm like, I believe what I believe, and I truly believe when you know what it is, what you want, and where you're coming from, and having to look at yourself in a respectable light, you have to make those decisions and those calls when it comes down to it. It's like, okay, and I get it. In fashion, you have to pick your battles. Like, you want to wear a little mini, or you want to show a little, cleavage, but you have to find your area and then stick with it and know your do's and your don't and how far you're going to go with it. And that was something that I had to learn, and it's something that I had to do. And as a plus size woman, it was very hard in the fashion industry, and it still is. Wow. Very difficult for us plus size women to be there in the fashion industries. There's times where, I've been to different fashion shows, very popular fashion shows, and they didn't have anything for me to wear.
Wow.
Yeah, like they didn't. So I decided, what better way than to come out with your own brand, that it could be represented for women like myself, Christian women that is deep in their values and their belief, and respectable, right? That you could still be seen and be classy, but yes, a little spicy, which I love. But at the same time, also be seen. Yeah.
So how did you sit down and you said you had that aha moment where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna blend fashion. I'm going to blend, my ministries and faith, mm-hmm. and my faith walk. And you're going to blend all of those things that you're an advocate for in one brand, mm-hmm. the Momentous fashion brand. Yeah. How did you decide just to accumulate all of that? What was that aha moment that you like, yeah, I could do this?
So what happened for me is when I was praying and asking God for a change and wanting something new, and having like that moment of feeling like a lot of like rejection of, okay, when I go to these places, not even knowing, and I'm spending money out of pocket, and how that felt and what that looked like for me. And it took me to a place of, okay, well, I'm gonna have to start from scratch, and I started teaching myself how to sew. Like, I went to sewing school, I started sewing, and then, went to fashion school, and I've learned like that to build, and that's how I started. And then once I started developing, my brand, God gave me that name, Momentous, which means, where I was in a place where I wanted change in my life. But Momentous means change bearing on its future.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I always looked at it like that's just a continuation. It's like that most high thing.
Yeah, right.
So, and it's kind of like one of those things, when you say momentous, I just thought about building, like steady building, steady climbing, steady elevating.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that because when I went to your site and I was, because I poke around, mm-hmm. I saw things that were fashion pieces that were absolutely beautiful. So, I'm going to make sure that everybody get that make sure they have that website, because I want them to see the beauty that you created in something where you say you can still hold your values, but still wear fashionable clothing, still look great. You can be plus size and still be sexy, not have to really conform to anything in the space of style, and we can do it our way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Definitely.
I love that. I definitely love that. And especially when you look at things that are going on in society today where there's a lot of pressure in regards to, look, even fashion. Even, things that we see in, because you're in the mental health space, so we see those things, but we also see things with our youth that may not always be flattering, that may not always walk in line with faith.
Right.
So, like, if you were, someone right now, giving some advice to someone that was younger that wanted to get into branding, but they feel like they're in a space where they're cornered because they're thinking about their size, or maybe their ethnicity, their race, maybe they're thinking about their religion. What would you say to them, knowing that they want to break into fashion? What would be that piece of advice?
My advice would be definitely embrace you as a person. Self-love is the best love. That's the first love in life, is loving yourself. With that, you can't beat that. And learning to grow within yourself and who you are. We are wonderfully and fearfully made, of course, having that confidence, and just know that you are the apple of God's eye. And that's how he sees me in his image, and that's my advice to others, because that's what helped me.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that with Momentous, you talk about your faith. And then you turned it into a magazine.
Yes.
Ooh, tell me about that process, because you are a fashion designer.
Yeah.
You design different wardrobes for different people that are in the industry, different artists, different people like that. And then you said, well, hey, I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to come up with a fashion magazine, the Momentous Fashion Magazine. And I was like, okay, I could rock with this.
Yeah.
I could rock with this. What was that process like for you?
It was just always, for me, I always said, okay, these are the list of things. I always had a list of things that I wanted to accomplish and I wanted to do. So that was something that was on my list. But at first, I didn't know where to go, how to start. And I believe over the years of experience and so much more, I believe that God helped me to build that momentum and then that capacity and the confidence to jump into that whole nother area, which it was not my expertise.
Yeah.
So, just building that and then, learning a lot, everything from scratch. Like, I literally learned everything on my own from scratch in order to get into that area. Yeah, so, and I do have I did bring it as well here, the magazine. So it was a lot. It has not been easy, but
see, this is what I mean by superstar power. Okay, she said, hey, I don't know how to sew, but I'm going to get into this fashion show and I'm going to rock it. So from there, you decided, okay, I'm still doing my practical studies for my degree and all of that, but then I'm going to learn how to sew, because I want clothes that I feel comfortable in, that I know that feel good to me. It doesn't compromise my faith in any way.
Yes.
And you started a clothing line.
Yes.
So then from there, you said, wait, in order for people to know about this great clothing line, and for people to not marginalize people that are plus size and feel like they cannot be a part of the fashion industry, you said, okay, I'll put them in a magazine too.
Yeah.
And on the cover.
Yeah.
I love that. I do. I do, because I feel like when you sit down and you make a plan for your life, you never really know which way to go.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that someone just really, you stepped out on faith in that way, because someone saw the greatness that was in you, and look at what it's built.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That is amazing. This cover of this magazine is amazing as well.
Thank you.
And, when it comes to like articles and stuff like that, how do you pick what's inside? How do you pick?
As far as with the articles, and the magazine is not only focused on just fashion. I look at it as a resource, right? And then when people purchase the magazine, there's other resources that I'm connected to, and then when they purchase it, then they're connected to that resource as well. Yeah. They can find other people that are doing different things, entrepreneurs, event planners, photographers, makeup artists, boxer, like everything, and they can use it as a resource to get connected with other people. And that's how I look at it. You know, it's not just for fashion. It's very open and just so much, you know, just to give people a platform.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was like a really cool way, and just bringing a whole new perspective to a magazine, not just focusing on just, you know, my brand. You know, it just brings an open, you know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because you said, you know what, I'm going to be a resource. I'm going to make sure people can actually connect and talk about different things other than just fashion. I love that. And I love the fact that it's faith-based as well.
Yes.
I think a lot of times, you know, people, when you see a faith-based magazine, you don't really know. Like, you kind of, well, is it all about religion? Is it all about this? Is it all about that walk of faith? But at the same time, I look at it like everything that you do is a part of that, because you're displaying your gifts that the universe gave you.
That's right.
So I commend you on that. I salute you on that, and for being like one of those change agents in that way, to push fashion forward in that way, to show people that it doesn't matter what size, it doesn't matter what your religion, you can do this.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Definitely.
I love that.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, like, you work within a community in the mental health space. How did you become an advocate for mental health?
I became an advocate. It's something that I've been doing throughout the years, working with a lot of different organizations, a lot of different companies, and it was something that was really dear to my heart, just because of where I've been in my life and my trauma, and, you know, so much that I've been through, my hurt, and still a lot that I am overcoming as well. And if it had not been, you know, for the goodness of the Lord that kept me mentally, physically, and emotionally, I could have really been in a really bad place mentally. So it was just something that really touched me dearly, and that was kind of what really got me into like that mental health advocacy, advocating for others that, you know, is dealing with that. Because coming up from where I'm coming from, a lot of people don't talk about it enough. It's more that, you know, a stigma. Oh, you know, I'm not, you know, getting, you know, a counselor, or, you know, looking to speak to someone. It's more frowned upon, you know. And I think that it was something that was really great. I even went to speak to a counselor personally, because I don't ever want to say this is what you are, but yet not getting that help that you need.
Yeah.
And it was really great. I really just didn't regret, you know, doing that, or just bringing that support for others, because it's needed.
It's very much needed.
Yeah.
You know, we deal with a lot on a daily basis. And a lot of times I think as entrepreneurs, we don't talk enough about our mental health journey.
Yeah.
You know, because, look, people don't realize it can be a little stressful when putting together marketing pieces, when putting together funding for your business, when, you know, going out and doing that sales piece. A lot of times we don't talk about that. And then trying to make sure that we have a good flow in our personal lives as well, when dealing with family and faith and those type of things, friendships. It can be a good roller coaster ride. So I'm all for, you know, those check-ins with counselors. I'm all for it. I think that we should all, no matter what profession you are, we should do that. And I think that more people should really advocate for that in the workplace as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because sometimes we need it.
Oh, yeah.
We need it, because a lot of times we are, even though as entrepreneurs we're here to solve a problem, we can feel like we're superhuman sometimes, but we definitely need those check-ins. I totally get it. Thank you for being an advocate.
Yeah, no problem. Listen, with so much, you know, I have like a lot of testimonies. Even, you know, in my book I have something that I've been through. You know, I've been raped, you know, in my life before, and that was a moment that broke me down so bad. Like, I literally could have really just been in a really, really bad place. And like I said, if it had not been for the goodness of God that sustained me and really kept me, because that was a point in my life where I was really, you know, and I was in the church, broken down so bad from, you know, someone that I really trusted, you know, thought that they meant the best for me, but it just didn't happen. So with that was something that you know, and who, like, you know, I was already in the mental health space and helping, but then who would have known that it would have been such, you know, something that really I just got connected to.
When we talk about like our traumas and things like that, a lot of times you're right. It's not something that we talk about a lot because we were brought up to say, well, hey, whatever goes on in this house stays in this house, right? And whatever things you're dealing with, you keep those things inside. You put on that smile and just go out in the world and just do the world's work.
Right.
You know, but I totally get that. And even though like you were in your faith and something traumatic happened to you, I am glad of the fact that you didn't lose your faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
You tapped in harder.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you know, it go a different way because you have the church hurt, you have all the different things that go along with that. Right. And I'm glad you kept the course.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we wouldn't have the beauty of this magazine, of all this design wear that you do out. Because you dress celebrities, you dress local individuals that want to stay fashion forward, but make sure they're, you know, they're still modest within their own right, you know. But thank you for being a fashion person. Like, how does that work? Like, how does like a style session go with Miss Andrea Antoinette? How does that work?
It's definitely something that, you know, you reach out to me and then, you know, we could set something up. But depending on what they're looking for, if it's something like on the go or just more different pieces, depending on, you know, the event. But yeah. So I'm open to doing that one-on-one type of thing.
I love it. Look, I get excited because, like, I am not the best dresser. I do try, and I think that I've learned from people's stylists like yourself. When I see them out, I see different people out and about, and then when I see people that are connected with different brand partnerships as well, and I see the different style pieces they put together, I think some of those have really like influenced my style in a way and influenced the way that I even see fashion. You know, growing up, I was one of those 90s kids. I like bright colors, funny shapes and hats and glasses and things. And I just think that style is always evolving. Yes. And you gotta keep up, but at the same time, you still got those classics.
Yes.
Oh man, I love it. Model.
Yes.
Look, model. Fashionista, designer, stylist, look, mental health advocate, brand ambassador, and author.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your book.
The book, which I have here as well, the book is called The Supernatural Prayers That Manifested My Husband. And it was a book where God allowed me to talk about like my testimony, which you know, what had happened, the rape that had happened is in this book as well. It was a part of my testimony. And also a lot of prayers are in this book as well, like prayers. I'm not married as yet, but I wrote this book out of an inspiration for me and for other women like myself, to inspire them, and knowing that it's okay to wait and to, you know, just trust God in the process, and what it was that you wanted to pray in strategic, you know, prayers, you know, and a lot of those prayers God had placed on my heart for me to put into this book of what it is that I wanted and what I was looking for, just to remind me, because sometimes in life we intend to forget. We really do.
Listen, you are so right about that. We do forget about that, and we forget to be specific within our prayers.
Yes, very true.
Have to be specific.
Yeah, and you know, so God just. And originally, it started out as like a devotional, you know, when I first started this book. And then God just started adding on more to it. And then it just ended up turning into this book. And, you know, God spoke to me that I have to put my testimony in this book, because every time that I was telling the world about what I've been through, what happened, He was going to heal every broken place in my heart, you know. And that was something so important to me. And I just use that in a way to, help heal myself from that trauma and just to inspire other women. Like, this journey is not an easy journey.
No, it is not.
It's not. And there's going to be times where your faith gets shooken so bad to the point that you're like, God, are you for real? Like, are you really hearing me? Are you really hearing these prayers? Like, I'm petitioning. Like, my heart is pure. I'm genuinely, for you. My heart posture is towards you. But your faith can still be shaken in those moments. Even, just love and trying to find the right person for you and trusting God. It's not easy. It's not an easy journey. It has not been for me at all. But I do believe that God allowed it to make it look good.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I want people to get the book because I want them to read your testimony and definitely read the prayers. And I love the fact that you really speak on manifestation as a whole being, not just particular parts of your life, but your whole life, like your whole being, your whole soul. And not only manifesting for yourself, but also looking at the prayers of others as well and develop those prayers for others. I absolutely love that.
Yes, thank you so much. And it took a lot for me to write this book because this book put me in a place where I had to be so vulnerable, and open up so much because there's a lot about me and how I'm feeling and what I've went through and dealt. Like, it really put me in a vulnerable place. And that was something that I did not like doing at all. I definitely had issues with being vulnerable. Like, I always was putting up a lot of walls and, so it definitely taught me a lot to open up and, just give things a chance. And,
No, I think that what you said there was very important about a lot of times we build up walls, right? Because a lot of times we do it and we subconsciously, we don't really realize we're doing it.
Exactly.
And then when you have to sit there and you have to really take a look at yourself, I always tell people about like cleaning the mirror. Like, you have to look at yourself within that mirror and really go deep within yourself and say, okay, what was the underlying factor for this? Because we all walk this journey. I'm a person, I believe that our fates are already written. They're already done. We're just walking along the path.
Right.
And sometimes those things that we go through, those hardships, those things that make that testimony, make those things that where it creates a testimony. I think those things are already written, and we're just walking through that journey. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I just think that sometimes, what they say, sometimes the toughest people get the hard lessons.
Yeah.
I'm a true believer in that, but I love the fact that you were able to align everything that you love in all of your steps, like you ordered your steps in regards to your brand.
Definitely.
You kept it faith-based. You kept it plus size. You kept it as a community resource, to be a community advocate and to be a mental health advocate, and you kept it all in line. I love that. Now that is strategy. That is manifestation at its finest, and definitely walking the walk. Thank you for doing so.
All thanks to the Most High, because that was His alignment, His strategy, and it was very strategic. And even when there was times where I didn't even know what that looked like, I didn't even know, at times, like, how this was going to work. But in His alignment and His direction, it just worked out in that order.
I love that. Like, I'm sitting there like, wait, you wrote a whole book. You got a magazine that comes out. You styling people. You sewing clothes. You're doing the different things. Like, how do you keep going?
Like I said, if it had not been for the goodness of the Lord and His grace and mercy, none of this wouldn't be possible. Because a lot of times it's not even in my strength, but it's in His. And that's what really keeps me going. His promise, His promise, the way He promised me, and that's what really has me keep going.
I love that.
Yeah.
Look, global phenom. Like, when I sit back and I look at your journey, it's really inspiring for me, because I've been in rooms where being plus size was kind of frowned upon, right? Even in the spaces of media, I run into those roadblocks. But I'm one of those people. I'm going to walk in, I'm going to leave with my brain, and I'm going to rock it every time.
That's right.
Where it make people say, but dang, I need to book her again,
That's right.
And I thank you for being one of those people, because a lot of times being a part of that community that's plus size, we don't talk about it much. We don't talk about our struggles, but I love the sisterhood that I've been seeing lately amongst plus size women. Like, let's be real, it's always been there. Because, we're going to help each other out in some spaces, but I love what I'm seeing now in that evolution. And definitely when it comes to fashion and style, I love it. I love it. I love it. Because sometimes I used to get tired of going in stores and, looking at outfits and saying, dang, me and my mama wearing the same style, I'm just being honest, So, but I love the evolution that I've seen so far in everything. And now you're starting to see more plus size representation with some of the, some of the worldwide brands that you see, the bigger fashion house names, and you're starting to see that integration a lot more. Like, what does that mean to you, being someone who started out in New York, just doing it because someone said you should do it? How does that feel now to sit back and look at the journey of where people are in regards to plus size modeling?
For me, it puts me in a place of humility, right? Because for me, I always say never forget where you're coming from. Because in order to know where you're going, you need to know where you come from, right? And humility always, right? No matter how big you get, no matter what you're doing, how you're doing, humility is always, because at any given time, all of that could be gone, just like that.
It's true.
So, we have to stand in humility and understand that, and the reality is nothing lasts forever, right? There's a time, a moment, a season for everything under the sun. And just me being humble and just having that humility in God and, treat everyone according to how I wanted to be treated. Because I know you never know where people are going to be in life or how that person could bless you or change your life or what they could do for you as a person. So just always be humble and treat everyone with kindness and showing them forth, as a Christian woman that I am, showing forth that true love of God that conquers all. No matter what you is, who you is, what you about, showing forth that love. That's the greatest thing.
So I looked at everything that you've done, and I know that you're still building. What does Momentous fashion look like in 5 to 10 years? What does it look like?
5 to 10 years, I want to say it looks like globally, international. That's what it looks like for me. And the reason why I say that is because my heart is just not just staying local or domestically. Like, it's so much more. And I believe that I left from New York to come here. It's just another territory that the Lord wants me to put my stamp on.
Hey, I love that. I love that. I definitely love that. When it comes to like the legacy, where do you see your legacy being?
Really greater. Just greater for, for my family, my future. Just really building that and just have that steady foundation, just rooted and grounded. I feel like that's the, but it really is,
Ooh, I love it. So, I'm all about the knowledge, right? And on this show, I like to give pieces of information, pieces of wisdom to someone who is either, thinking about fashion line or just entrepreneurship, period. Because there's so many lessons that I've learned from great people that are doing great things. What's a piece of advice that you would give any entrepreneur, any person in the community space, or anyone that's just maybe thinking about entrepreneurship? What would you give them as far as advice?
So my advice is just keep pushing. You know, the race is not for the swift, right? Just keep going. Even if it looks hard, even if it looks difficult, just keep on pushing, because there's going to be one day that whatever you was manifesting, believing God for, trusting, it will happen. It will come to pass.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Look, today she is giving knowledge about, you know, keep pushing forward no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, always be okay with the fact that your thing may not be someone else's thing.
That's right.
And don't compromise. Stay within your walk and your path on life, your way. I love the fact that you said study your craft. You said, I want to be a fashion designer, but I don't know how to sew. Where do you learn how to sew?
That's right.
Then you followed your passion even more and said, I'm going to go ahead and build a magazine from scratch. I have no previous knowledge, but I'm going to learn.
Right.
And you've made it an absolute success. See, this is what this is about. I love to see the journey of what we can do with our minds. And I feel like we haven't really tapped in fully to everything that we're capable of, just a small fraction.
Yeah.
But I love to see everything that you have manifested, everything that you have grown and done together. And just thank you for being an advocate. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, tell people where they can get the book, where they can, you know, catch your fire, where they can tap in with you, book you. Tell them.
Yes. So as far as the book, you can get the book on any platform: Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Book a Million. It's on a lot of different platforms. You can find the book. And as far as the magazine, that is on my website, Momentous Fashion. And also, you know, my website is, you know, of course, Momentous Fashion. All of the handles, Instagram, Facebook, everything is Momentous Fashion. Yeah.
Oh. Listen, before we get out of here, I like to do something called the fast track.
Okay.
So the fast track is basically where I ask you some questions, and the first answer that comes off the top of your head, that's the answer. Okay? But you can give us a little explanation, right?
Okay.
Okay. So right now with spring coming into season, what's the color to wear?
Of course, the bright colors. Definitely, that is definitely something that I love. Bright colors. This is actually one of my pieces as well from my line. I also have the pink to this as well, like hot pink. Yeah. So definitely, I will wear my little hot pink this summer. Yes.
Okay. So she's saying bright colors right now, and definitely a touch of hot pink in the summer.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, yes. Okay. When you are getting ready for your business meeting, or maybe you're driving somewhere and you need to have that theme music going, that song. What's that song for you?
Well, I like, you know, that song Alicia Keys' New York.
Yeah.
Definitely. Or some gospel, some Miller Man.
Okay.
Yeah, This Place was a song that I truly loved so much. When I used to listen to that song, it just used to bring tears to my eyes. Yeah, and there's a new one, Lord Do It For Me.
Okay.
That I like as well. Yeah.
Okay. So you got your fight song, you got your colors for the summer.
Yes.
Okay, and in the spring, of course, you said bright colors right now, and then a touch of hot pink in the summer. Okay, I'm gonna have to remember that. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to work that into my wardrobe. I love that because I gotta get out of wearing black. I wear black all the time, so I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna mix it up. Okay, my next question is, if you could dress someone right now, like maybe a celebrity, maybe a local person, maybe who is someone that you have not styled yet that you would like to? Because we talk about manifestation here.
Yeah, that's right. I would say Maybe Tasha Cobbs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see our styles vibing because we talk about manifestation.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Like I said, I love your energy. I love everything you do. I cannot wait to see what Momentous Fashion does in the future. And look, I'm not too shabby. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my shot. I'm not too shabby for your next fashion show either. So keep that in mind.
Yes, I'm actually having one coming up real soon.
Yes. And we're gonna go ahead and look. My team is gonna go ahead and put out the details for that because you're having a casting call and then you're also having, the actual show itself.
Yes.
So we definitely want to make sure people in the house. So we're gonna give them all the links and all the context to dive in and do that. Andrea Antoinette, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's definitely a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. See, this is the thing. When you go into some rooms, you never knew who you're going to meet. A few weeks back, look, I met Andrea Antoinette, and she was just a light. You know what I mean? You know how you walk into a room and you just see someone just with a glowing, calm presence. And she was it. And we got to talking about her magazine and the things that she has coming up. And I said, hey, come on and be on this podcast. She gave us nuggets today about learning your craft. If it's something that you don't know, but you're interested in, go out there and do it. She walked out on faith regardless of what things that she was going through personally. She decided that she was going to push forward and persevere and look at what the results it has. Look, she got a book about manifestation, right? Prayers, testimony. It's just one of those things where she decided to be a storyteller and tell her story and put it in words. It takes a strong person to put their story in paper and put it in someone else's hands and have them read it. We definitely want to thank her for being an advocate in the mental health space and just being a great all-around great person. So you know me, the Business Knowledge Broker Hour, we're going to always bring you the best. But as of right now, this CEO is out. We'll catch you next week.
Business Knowledge Broker Hour.
Hey, yo, Guru, you ready?
Business, marketing, accounting, social media, resources, strategy, tips, even the Business Knowledge Broker Hour.